Hi, my name is Ezza for the Alchemist Kitchen, and I'm here right now to talk to Jenny Sansouci and also bake cookies based off the
Yay.
recipe, yay, based off the recipe from the Rebels Apothecary. So, Jenny, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm excited about these cookies because that we're making from the book because this is one of my favorite recipes that I've been making for probably almost 10 years now. So I'm excited that we're doing it.
Wow, so 10 years, so every
Yeah.
Christmas you get to make the cookies, right?
Yeah. 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 Every year, I mean, I've been making these cookies, not with CBD in them for
Mm-hmm.
10 years, but when I started to write this book, I was trying to come up with, how can I incorporate more CBD into things that I'm already making all the time. And so I thought about this cookie recipe and I was like, this is everybody's favorite recipe. Whenever I make it for them, everyone loves it. So I was like, I'm going to just add some little magic CBD into the recipe and just went from there.
Wow. And so, the people that are receiving it are happier and much more relaxed.
Exactly. Exactly. It's a win-win for everybody.
So the recipe is on page 144. It's the gluten-free CBD chocolate chip cookies. And so
Hmm.
before we started recording, I said I was looking through the ingredients and I'm going, oh, I don't have that. So it's not going to be gluten-free because the only flour that I have is like all-purpose flour. So
Okay.
I have baking soda, the sea salt, the honey, and I don't have the vanilla extract, so we'll be using peppermint extract. So what I'm
Hmm.
thinking of doing is going for the chocolate chip mint cookies.
Perfect. That sounds delicious.
Yes.
Um,
So
and then you have either coconut oil or butter, one of those
I
two.
I do. I have butter, which okay, it's at the counter. Let me just pick it up.
Perfect.
So I melted the butter. So let's try making this now.
Okay. One thing I will say just about this recipe, I always make it with almond flour. And
Mm-hmm.
actually earlier today, I wanted to practice with what I had here, which was just a different kind of gluten-free sort of all-purpose flour, and it was a little drier. So I just want to put that out there because almond flour makes it like a little more moist because the
Moist.
almonds are so dense. So if you're
Oh,
making the dough with any other kind of flour and it feels dry when you're, rolling and putting
mhm.
them on the pan, you could either like add a little bit more butter or honey, or maybe use a little bit less flour when you start out if you don't want them
Okay.
to be too dry.
Well, we'll find out because I got
Okay.
this flour from Pennsylvania. There's a farm there. So, well, first it's like 2 cups of flour, right?
Yep.
So I'm
Yep.
gonna put it in the little container right here. This might take forever.
Yeah, and one thing I'll say, while you're getting all this stuff ready, in the book, I tell people you can either, which what you're going to do is add a few droppers of a CBD tincture. Is that right?
Yeah, I
You
have
have it.
that.
Yeah.
So,
So you can either do that, or if you're really feeling dedicated and creative, people can infuse the coconut oil or the butter with cannabis. Like you can infuse it with CBD flower, which is a whole process that's in my book. But then you have like butter that you can use for any recipe, or coconut oil that you can use for any recipe that has CBD infused in it. So I have done that a few times before too, but it's definitely quicker to just throw in the tincture that you already
so
have.
we could always recommend people to buy Plant Alchemy CBD.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason why when you mentioned it on your book to like take note of what the flavor of the oil is, our CBD, the plant alchemy, is actually flavored with mint. So I was thinking,
Mm-hmm.
well, that's gonna be perfect. So that's why it's like chocolate chip mint.
Yep. Yep. Over the holidays, I make them with mint flavor sometimes, and it's so good. I mean, these cookies, you can really get so creative with what you do with these cookies. Sometimes I use blueberries instead of chocolate, and that makes it kind of like a blueberry muffin type of experience, but in a
Is it like
cookie. So
frozen
good.
blueberries or
I
like
use fresh blueberries. Yeah.
fresh
Fresh.
blueberries? Okay, so there's the flour in there. And then what's the next step? Baking soda.
Hmm.
So I'm just gonna put baking soda. And then the next is honey. How do you get the honey out of the? honey jar.
I usually use a spoon. Yeah, just use a spoon and
Just
grab it out of the jar, yep, with the spoon and then just mix it into the dough.
because I was like, it's so precious, like how many flowers, pounds of flowers, a bee needs to go to in order to make the honey. It's like I just want to
Mm,
lick the bowl.
I know.
Bowl.
I know. I love honey. I love baking with honey too.
And then the next is the vanilla extract. Yeah, this is another one of my variation because I didn't have any um, vanilla, so we'll use the peppermint. Okay,
Perfect.
there you go. And that's it, right? And then we blend it.
Did you put salt, a little salt in there?
Yes, there's salt in I mixed it
Great.
with with the peppermint,
Hmm.
so it's all incorporated.
Yeah, so I usually either put it in a blender or food processor if you want the dough to be super smooth. If you don't feel like doing that, you can just kind of mix it up with a fork or a
Okay.
whisk or a spoon and just get it as smooth as possible. I've kind of used that to save time sometimes, but
So I'm gonna
so
put it in
up
the
to you.
blender. I'm gonna put
Okay.
it in the blender. And the nice thing about, making it at home is that you could lick your fingers.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need, um, well, let's see. The honey got stuck.
Oh, did it not blend into a dough? You could probably if it gets stuck like that, you can probably just put it in a bowl now and just kind of
And then just mix it.
yeah.
Okay. Handy dandy. That's why I have a bowl right here.
Mm-hmm.
So how long did it take you to write the book?
Oh my goodness. Let's see. It took me actually about probably 4 months just to write the book proposal.
Oh, wow.
Just to get
Wow.
the idea, I know, just to get the idea out of my head and into what
Uh-huh.
is now this book. I ended up making a 70-page book proposal.
Wow.
And yeah, so it was nice because it was really all laid out for me. And then
Hmm.
from there, I started writing. I probably took a year for me to write the book, start to finish, not including the book proposal portion. Yeah.
And
And so I did do a lot of research along the way too. So it was a full-time process. Yeah, to do all the writing and research for it. Because I didn't really know a lot about these topics before I wrote the book. I was just
mhm.
diving in head first and went and interviewed all the experts I could and did all the research I could do. And then my first draft was due in 6 months, and then it took me another 6 months to go to do the editing and kind of
Uh-huh.
revising. Yep.
And then you add the CBD into the butter, right?
Yeah. Well, you can just add the CBD into the dough now and mix it in.
Okay. Good thing because it says like put several.
Hmm. Yeah. What I usually tell people is, you're not going to absorb when you're eating something with CBD in it. You're not going
Mhm.
to absorb 100% of the CBD like you would if you just used a tincture under your tongue, or if you had a capsule, that you'll probably absorb more than if it's in a cookie. But you're still going to get a good amount of it in there. So you can measure it out based on your preferred dosage, and know that it just won't be exactly accurate because you're, eating it in a cookie. But I'll usually do like 10 to 20 milligrams per cookie. 10 is kind of more of
Oh,
a standard one that I'll do.
maybe I should put more.
Yeah. I mean, they'll make you relax. That's the thing. Anytime I cook with CBD and then I eat a meal with it or a dessert with it, I always sleep so well that night. It just like puts you into a state of such calm. At least in my experience.
It's not incorporating. Am I missing anything?
Um,
Or maybe
well,
it's just
I
the dough.
usually I usually add it in before I do the blending process or the mixing
Uh-huh.
process, but it's not sometimes you might need to use your hands, get real dirty in there,
Oh,
but
get in there. Okay.
so you want to get it as even as possible in there.
Okay. Let's do that then. Okay. Just maximize the honey.
And are you doing chocolate in there too?
Yes. Ooh,
Cool.
the chocolate. There you go. An ounce of chocolate. Or no, a bar of chocolate.
Yeah, I usually chop up a chocolate bar and just kind of sprinkle it in there, but you can get creative with it.
Okay. And then you said an inch, right? An inch.
Yeah, just like roll it into little balls, like roughly an inch, and then you can kind of tap it down with your fingers and press it down. And then they bake really quickly, like less than 10 minutes.
Okay. It's coming together.
It's coming together. Okay, good. Does the dough seem too dry with that kind of flour, or does it seem okay?
I think the dough was a little dry, so I added a little bit of water to it. It's coming
Okay.
together.
Okay, good.
Yeah, now it looks like a cookie dough. But I'm
Beautiful.
thinking I'm gonna make like a giant
A giant cookie?
a giant
Like
cookie.
a cookie cake?
Yes,
Oh
yes.
God, I used to love cookie cake.
That's what I was thinking because I have this big pan already. It's like what I use for a pizza.
Oh yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
thinking, yeah. I mean, that's the beauty of making it at home, right? You kind
Hmm.
of do whatever makes you happy.
Exactly. That's how I got the blueberry idea. Because I was like, I love chocolate chip cookies, but blueberry cookies, that would be a
Mm.
delight. I think it was over the summer that I made that. And um so now I actually had some blackberries and raspberries in my fridge that I mashed up and like swirled that into cookies one time, which was so good. And really it's like a jam cookie.
Mm-hmm.
You could add peanut butter to it if you want.
So really, this could be the base recipe, and then you could, you know, whatever flavor profile that you want to have, right?
Exactly. Yep. I love the idea of putting the mint CBD in there.
Yeah. So this is how it looks like, my giant cookie. I'm gonna show it.
All
Ta-da!
right.
And I'm
Beautiful.
gonna put it in the oven and 10 minutes, right?
Yep. Like you should check it around 6 minutes and see, especially with that type of flour, it might cook faster.
Okay. So while that's baking,
Let's see how it goes.
let's see how it goes. So let's talk about the course. The course that
Yeah.
we recorded, which is having, you know, people are discovering it, people are taking it, and they're going through the books as well as the products that are linked to it. So tell me about the course, and what would people learn from
Mm.
taking the course?
Well, one of the reasons that we put together this course is because there's a lot of information in the book, a lot of things that are really kind of hands-on. There's a lot of different products that are talked about, especially with cannabis and CBD, lots of different medicinal mushrooms that are mentioned. And people always have questions like, how do I use this? What do I use this for? What kind of, like, what do I use for sleep? What do I use for pain? What do I use for anxiety? What about this? And there's so many questions that a lot of people learn better through having, you know, someone speaking directly to them and showing products and talking through each individual, you know, wellness goal and what might be best for that. And so that's really what the course is. We go through, there's 4 classes in the course. We go through basically everything cannabis and CBD, everything that you need to know to really get started with using it for your own wellness, or, you know, to help your loved ones who may find some relief from it. So we do, you know, CBD, THC, all the different compounds in the cannabis plants, topicals, capsules, tinctures, you know, everything that you see when you go to the store. You know, there's so many CBD products out there, as you know, and it can get overwhelming to figure out, what do I use for this? What do I use for this? What's best for me? So we go through all of that. The next class is all about medicinal mushrooms, so non-psychedelic medicinal mushrooms like chaga and lion's mane and reishi and turkey tail and all those amazing medicinal mushrooms, and what they are used for, how to use them, the different products that you can try for different things, for energy, for sleep, for you know, your immune system. And so we go through all of that, and it was really cool to make the course because we answered a lot of people's questions, and the questions that people have are really universal. And they're the questions that I see over and over and over from people who have read the book or not read the book. Like, these are the things that everybody is wanting to know. So we were able to really talk through a lot of that stuff with people that were asking questions in the course. The third class, we talk all about the recipes and how to incorporate CBD and medicinal mushrooms into your life. And we go through a bunch of different wellness concerns and really dig deep into, you know, the main things that a lot of people struggle with. Like I said, sleep and pain and anxiety. Those are 3 big ones that a lot of people want to know about. We talk about using them for, you know, during cancer treatment, to manage chemotherapy side effects. So we really go the whole range from, like, you know, small everyday concerns to, you know, people that have more serious concerns. And really just how to kind of create a little Rebels apothecary in your own home, and what
I
kind of
love
things
that.
yeah. And so, of course, we, you know, all the Alchemist kitchen products that you guys have go so perfectly with the book and the course, because you have, you know, something to offer in every area, which is why I was so excited to make this with you guys. And then the fourth class is all about psychedelic mushrooms, so psilocybin and the research that's going on there, and, you know, how psychedelic mushrooms can be therapeutic, kind of where the future of it might be going, and just answering all the questions there. And we just get into some pretty deep stuff in that class too. So it was really exciting to create, and it basically just goes through everything you learn in the book and just deep dives into each area.
Yeah. And it's fascinating. It's like really a manual on how to use plant medicine. I know
Mm-hmm.
mushrooms are not plants, but still they're all like together where they have all the medicinal properties. And so
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about the mushroom, because we're not making mushrooms right now. But what is your favorite recipe? How do you use mushrooms in your life? You know,
Mm.
you have a lot of recipes here, but what's your go-to way of taking in the mushrooms?
Yeah, that's a great question. As far as I guess I'll say my favorite mushroom to cook with, medicinal mushroom to cook with, is shiitake. Definitely. I love the taste of shiitake, and most people are already familiar with shiitake. They see it at the grocery store. So Swapping shiitake for whatever, button mushrooms or other mushrooms you're already using can really add some more immune boosting properties and nutrients to your meal. So I like to make a gravy. My favorite is the shiitake gravy. The recipe is also in the book. But I make it for every holiday that calls for gravy. And it's basically shiitake mushrooms and some tamari, and it's so good. And that's one of my favorite recipes. But how I use medicinal mushrooms every day is really kind of on an as needed basis for what I'm looking for. So for energy, a lot of times I'll use cordyceps either in a smoothie, or sometimes I'll just even add it to my coffee or tea. And that's kind of in a powder form. Um, I like to use reishi at night a lot. So I'll make a little reishi tea before I go to sleep, just to kind of calm down at night or when I'm winding down, because that can be really soothing to the nervous system. When I'm feeling like I really want to boost my immune system, I make chaga tea. So I'll take like a fresh chunk of chaga, and let that simmer in water for a couple of hours until I get a really big pot of tea, and then just kind of drink that throughout the day. And if I ever think I'm coming down with something, that will, make me feel better really quickly.
That's the thing, really, with the plants and with the mushrooms. It's like it really connects you to your body. You kind of have to be
Hmm.
aware and kind of ask yourself, what do I need? What does my body need at this time? You know.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about the brain fog as well? Because I
Oh, yeah,
feel
yeah,
like
yeah.
that's really important during this time, especially
Yeah.
we're still in COVID, and we're also
Yep.
still, in winter here in the East Coast in New York City, where I mean, it still gets dark, and when you wake up, sometimes, in my case, like I wake up in a panic and I don't know where I. So let's talk a little bit about the brain fog and
Yeah.
how does CBD or the mushrooms actually help with that.
Yeah. That's a great question. My go-to mushroom for anything brain related would be lion's mane mushroom. And I didn't mention it when you first asked, but that's another one of my go-to ones for memory and focus and work. If I'm sitting down and I need to write or edit something, or like really, really get in focus, I'll put lion's mane powder either just into hot water or into my coffee, or you can add it into a matcha tea or whatever whatever your morning drink is. You can add it into a smoothie, and it can really help. It can really help with the brain. And then with CBD, so that's one where you have to experiment a little bit, because some people, when they take a very small amount of CBD, they find themselves more focused and more energized and more alert. But if you go a little bit over that ideal amount, that threshold, it can kind of make you calm down too much. Like for me, if I take a little bit too much CBD, it's like I'm just a little bit less motivated to work and get things done. So there's a line between kind of like what's your ideal small dose to help you stay focused, and what's the dose that's going to make you relax. So that's going to take some experimenting. It'll be different for everybody.
And then how long do you take it? Is it like a week, 2 months, or
Hmm.
is there a duration where you stop and like kind of, you know, allow your body to readjust? So what's the ideal, I guess, way of going about it?
With CBD, people definitely can develop a tolerance to it. You may have to start taking a little bit more to get the effects that you're wanting. So if you find that that's happening, you can just like cut back for a few days and then reintroduce. With the medicinal mushrooms, I take them pretty much every day. And again, with the mushrooms, it's kind of like listen to your body as needed. Some people like to take a blend every single day just for immune boosting properties and to just support your overall wellness. So you can put a blend of different medicinal mushrooms into a smoothie or into a drink, or take capsules, um, and then kind of use the other ones sort of as a like spot treatment things, for energy or sleep or the brain. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's 5:32. Let me go check on the cookie to
Okay.
see. I could smell it. It's so good. A little bit more.
Okay. How's it looking?
It looks good and it
Okay, good.
smells good. I'm so
I,
excited.
I've never made it as a huge cookie like that before. I'm excited to see how it is.
And then I was thinking, and then of course ice cream to go.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You know what? There's another recipe in the book as well. It's a brownie. It's like a cordyceps brownie. And I made that so many times while I was writing the book because it's like cordyceps powder and then it's kind of like an energy bar type of scenario. So I would
Uh-huh.
just be like munching on that and drinking my chaga tea the whole time while I was writing the book. I was just going all out with all the mushrooms.
And so, what's your next project? Like, what are you working on now?
I'm working on, I'm working on my next book and I'm really in research mode with it right now, but it's going to be much more of a deep dive into psychedelics and other plant medicines.
Yeah, I saw one of your posts on Instagram. You had, I think, like 50 books like piled up, and that was your
Oh yeah.
going to be your research material. I'm like, yes, you'll be reading a lot of
Yeah.
books.
Yeah. It's a blessing and a curse that I am just obsessed with researching because I will spend so long trying to find like every little detail, which is amazing. And yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's important to me to direct people to the best resources that they can find, which is why I love working with you guys.
Oh, we appreciate that. There's
Yeah.
also one tidbit that you worked with Dr. Lipman, right? As a
Mm-hmm.
under his tutelage, so you've learned a lot from him. What was, I guess, the experience like learning from him? Because he was such a
Mm.
pioneer with
Yeah.
holistic medicine.
Yeah, it was really fantastic because when I worked with him in his office as a health coach, what would happen is I would sit with him with every single patient that would come and meet with him in his office, and I would sit with him. We would listen to what their concerns were, and then he would kind of give them a prescription for their diet and lifestyle, and then I would sit with the person one on one afterwards and help them figure out how to really incorporate that into their life. What does gluten free mean? What does it mean to cut out sugar or alcohol, and how can you manage your life, and how can what are the options that you can use to swap in, and what can just letting people kind of visualize what their life could look like. Because if someone's like, oh, cut out gluten and see what happens, it's like, okay, I can't, people don't know how to manage that. Okay, I can't have bread, I can't have pizza, I can't have this. And then it feels like a sentence that you're like having to cut out all of these things, but really there's so many amazing things that you can bring in to support feeling better. So learning from him, I learned so much about supplements. I learned a lot about just being able to support your whole body through diet and lifestyle, and seeing the people that would come in after having these digestive issues or skin issues or weight issues, energy issues. People would be coming in with all these different kind of everyday concerns, and then 2 weeks later coming in feeling so much better from going on these what really is kind of an elimination diet of taking out a lot of anti-inflammatory foods and just seeing how your body reacts. And then we would add things back in and say, okay, this seems to be fine for you, but this causes a reaction when you add it back in. So now you have more information about what works for your body.
That's amazing. So let
Yeah.
me check one more time on the cookie. Let me just get the towel. I'm so excited.
How's it
Ta-da!
look?
Oh my
Oh.
God.
That's
Smells.
exciting.
There should be like a smell of vision because this is just
Oh my
amazing.
God, I'm coming over.
I mean, it's a little soft because it just came from the oven.
That's
But,
good. It's good soft.
mm,
Good.
the mint is coming through.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how's that mint? Good.
I
Mint
got a little
chocolate
piece of the
cookie.
chocolate. Yeah, and the chocolate was a combination of matcha as well as regular chocolate.
Wow, matcha and mint. See,
Yeah.
this is,
So
yeah,
so
you're
it's
creating a masterpiece over there.
it's so good. I
Can you
really
taste the
want to.
CBD? Like, does the CBD flavor come through or no?
Now I'm tasting the mint more than anything else.
Hmm. Oh, that sounds so good.
This is great. Now I have a base recipe and I could play around with it and I could like
Mhm.
I have a
Yeah.
chocolate cookie.
Yeah, the only thing you need to just make sure if you're adding CBD to cookies, just make sure you're not, eating too many of them before you have to. One of my mistakes that I made one time is I ate like a lunch that I had made, what was some type of stir fry, and I had like added some CBD to it at the end just while I was experimenting, and then I had to go to a meeting with my publisher at Penguin Random House in the city, and I was so calm. I was like, oh my God, I ate way too much CBD. And so I was just like, way too chill. And so I was like drinking a coffee to try to make up for it. So perfect for like evening or winding
Mhm.
down.
I
That's
think
yeah.
this is perfect. This is going to be my go-to recipe now. Any
Great.
last words, Jenny? Thank you so much for the recipe and for talking about the book and we're really looking forward to, people taking the course and learning.
Yeah, I mean, I will just say it was such a wonderful experience creating the course. I think the coolest part about it is it's like this. It's like what we're doing now is just like talking about things and and hearing like real life experiences and hearing real life applications and ways to use things and ways to incorporate CBD and mushrooms into your life. And yeah, and it was just such a delight to make it. So I'm so excited for everybody that's going through it now and everyone who will go through it. So yeah,
Great.
thank you
Thank
guys
you
for
so
being here.
much.